everyone!
Hello everyone!
My name is Eilis.
I'm Jack.
And we are co-presenters for Electro Heads.
I'm Cole, by the way.
That's also Cole. This is Cole.
This is our lovely cameraman.
He's
here.
the magician of the tech.
Yes. So we are here today in Hyde Park, no less. We are actually sat in a very handsome Honda-y, and today myself and Jack, and Cole included, we're going to be chatting about all things electric cars. So thank you so much to Yes Auto for letting us hijack their socials and their Facebook page to let us do this live stream today. They are just as excited about electric cars as we are, so please do check out their website, because not only do they offer you lovely new and used electric cars to buy, but you can also lease with Yes Auto as well. So
there you go.
You should check them out. And they've also got a really great editorial team that release all the hottest news and reviews about electric cars. So make sure to check out all their socials, because they've got some really great stuff. And the app is awesome as well, so check it out. Today, as I said, we're going to be talking about electric cars. For you at home, we would love for you to get involved, so please do comment any questions that you might have. We will do our best to answer them. And anybody who sends in a great question, we'll get some Electro Heads merch.
Oh yeah. What have we got?
Well, let me show you, Jack. We have, in fact, I've moved them. So,
Merch.
we've got some face masks. Oh, lovely. Very fetching. We do have, we've got a lovely Electro Heads hat branded there as well. You know, very cool.
As worn by.
As worn by, yeah. I don't have knits, I promise. We also have a polo shirt as well. So, please do get your questions coming in. Just to start, I think we should talk about what electric cars you are, firstly what you've driven that you are very excited to talk about today.
Sure. Yeah, good place to start. We've driven a few cool things recently, haven't we? I mean, I think we've got to start with the car we're in today, which is the Honda-y, which, the funny thing about this car is, it doesn't do a lot to dispel some of the myths about electric vehicles, because it's quite expensive and doesn't actually have very much range. But it's so special, isn't it?
It really is.
It's one of the most charming little cars. It feels huge in here. It's a tiny car on the outside, so easy to drive in London. It's got the most steering lock of anything I've ever driven. 3-point turns are 1-point turns in this car. And it's just beautiful and lovely.
Yeah, I wish we could show you right now. There is this full screen display that we've got going on here. We've got some like beautiful Japanese autumnal leaves as a wallpaper. Oh, yeah. We've even as well got a three-pin plug down the bottom that you can plug anything you like into this car. Anything. Yeah, it works great as a recording studio for that very reason. We've got a nice strip of wood here. That's faux wood.
Spoiler alert, guys.
Oh yeah.
So the topic of today is what? Are electric cars still terrible?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Somebody's saying, easy answer, they are not.
Well,
especially the Honda that we're sitting in.
Ah.
Who said that?
Thomas Nilsson.
Thomas, you are so right, and I think we can probably just wrap it up there.
Yeah,
I think we're done. Yeah.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for watching. You're right, Thomas. You're very right, and we're going to get to that a little bit soon and dispel some of the big myths about electric cars. Very quickly, other stuff I've driven recently that I love. This is very cool, but like I understand it's a very specific car for a very specific type of person.
Yeah, definitely a city car, right?
Big time. Had to go in a Tesla Model 3 not long ago, which I know it's kind of boring to talk about, but like it's just the best. Yeah. It's got so much range. The supercharger network is unbelievable. The self-driving tech is unbelievable. They're still a little bit wonky in the build quality, but apparently now that they've started building them in China, that issue is done and dusted, and they're a lot tidier now. What else? Had to go in a Seat Mi Electric the other day, guys, which is like a tiny economy city car, but it's got 160 miles of range, which is pretty good. Really quite cheap and just so lovely. Such a nice little thing. So yeah, we've had to go in some really cool stuff lately.
Yeah. I mean, again, I've just loved driving the Honda-y. I think it's absolutely brilliant. But yeah, definitely a city car in itself.
I love it.
But
if it had 4 times as much range, it would be the best car in the entire world.
What would you say is your favourite electric car for, say, if there was like, you know, a jack of all trades, family car, you know, do the distance but has the space as well, and maybe not too.
The sensible, boring up answer is Tesla Model 3, and the answer is probably Tesla Model 3, but as a slightly more interesting second answer, I'm going to go for the Polestar 2. Because it's amazing looking, build quality is stunning, great to drive, just so cool. There's a real head turner that car, but without being like obnoxious. Pretty good range, lots of space in the back. Yeah, that is one of my personal favourites at the moment.
Now, I think, you know, the whole topic of this live stream today is, you know, are EVs terrible? Which is, we know the answer.
Loaded question,
Yeah.
but let's discuss it.
They are terrible, yeah.
Cole, okay, we should explain this. Our lovely cameraman Cole in the back is, I wouldn't say he's anti-electric,
No.
but he's pro-petrol.
Absolutely.
He likes his cars
good reason.
good and loud, and I respect that. But he's one of the people whose minds will be looking to change today.
Yes, yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, I mean, you know, I was just about to start on the myth busting, but I feel like you're going to be chiming in, Cole, with being that person who'll be asking the questions, won't you?
I may.
But I think we'll just start off with EVs and range.
Yep.
Now, there is a common misconception that EVs just don't have enough range to get you around, creating range anxiety.
Okay, let's talk about that. So there is a spectrum of electric cars out there with different kinds of range. Again, the one we're sitting in, not a great example of this because it's, in terms of how much miles you get versus how much it costs, it's one of the worst electric cars in the world. But that's okay, we chose it because it looks nice, not
And it's
because
fun.
it's got lots of range. And it's really fun.
So fun.
Electric car range is improving exponentially. 10 years ago, the rangiest car on the road could have done 120, 130 miles. Today, the new Tesla Model S Plaid, which is coming out later this year, can do north of 500 miles.
Ooh.
And it's not just the big expensive stuff. The Hyundais and the Kias, the South Korean cars, offer amazing value for money. You can get 250 to 300 miles of range very, very affordably. Oh, the car wants to turn itself off. Vehicles wanting to turn themselves off. No.
No, please.
But the short answer is battery tech is improving insanely fast. We have to remember this is kind of a new technology. Like, the petrol engine has been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. Big car batteries, well, they've only been knocking about for sort of 10 years or so.
Yeah.
And the improvements in that time has been astonishing. And the car's turned itself off. Car.
Come on.
I love
Do
that
better.
noise it makes. It's very Star Warsy, isn't
It
it?
is.
Yeah, I think almost any kind of use case, whether you're someone that does tons of motorway driving or you just sort of nip around town, there is almost like definitely an electric car out there now that has enough range for your needs.
Yeah.
And if there isn't now, there will be a year or two from now, because you look at the stuff that's coming out in the next 18 months, the range is just going like that.
And that's the thing as well, you know, we are just like accelerating in terms of, you know, research and development, and it's only going up, it's only getting better, isn't it?
100%. And also, I think people think that they need a lot more range than they actually do. It's always worth remembering the average journey time in the UK is, I think, 8 miles.
That's right.
And most of us do, you know, less than 100 miles a week.
Yeah.
And it sounds scary having, you know, 100, 150 miles of range, but you just have to think about your own use case and how much you really need. What we need more than cars with thousands and thousands of miles of range is better charging infrastructure, and I'm sure we'll talk about that a bit later.
Oh yes.
I'm going to interrupt you.
Cool.
We have a bunch of questions leading.
Oh, you guys.
All right, let's talk. Let's hear 'em.
Let's go for the first one. James King.
Hi, James.
Do you think electric cars can be classic cars of the future? Very good question.
Ooh, that is very interesting.
Good.
It's sort of, it's not something that exists yet, really, the classic electric car, is it?
Yeah.
Unless you count like a G-Wiz, which I think we're agreed we don't count.
What about like a Nissan Leaf?
I mean,
Would
in
that
its
be a
own
classic?
category, it might actually.
An
yeah.
early Nissan Leaf, I mean,
Maybe?
personally, I can't see it becoming like a super desirable classic
Yeah,
over the
true.
years.
True.
We'll have to wait and see. I see no reason why not. I mean, you know, you look at the Porsche Taycan, which is kind of the most desirable, beautiful, high-end electric car in the world right now. 50 years from now, that's going to be quite interesting, isn't it? You know, that will go down in history as the first really special performance EV. And I'm sure there'll be plenty of people that will want to drop the old batteries out, fit new ones that have got 3 times as much range, because we'll have those by then.
Yes.
And run it as a classic. Likewise, I think we're going to see a huge boom in converting old petrol cars to electric in years to come. That's something that's already happening in small volumes. It's kind of expensive at the moment because you kind of need to find a crashed Tesla and pull all the bits out and put them in whatever you want. But when that sort of thing becomes a bit more viable, I think we're going to see a lot of appetite for people taking their beloved old petrol-powered cars that they grew up with, converting them to electric and giving them a second lease of life.
Good. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sold?
Yeah. Okay.
The petrol head
All
is
right.
sold.
We have a lot of questions, so I'm going to go to the next one. A couple of people are saying very good question indeed. My main question is, this is Richard Charles. My main question is, most people are still worried about charging, whether it's the length of time it takes to charge or finding a charger. What's your experience with that?
Okay, so the first thing I'll say about this, people get really worked up about the public charging network. What is important to remember is that you will not have to use an array of public chargers, especially often. The charger that matters the most is the one local to where you are, be it the one in your driveway, which if you have one of those, congratulations, problem solved, or the one nearest your house. That's the one that you'll be using, the one that you'll be charging overnight. And only when you're making long journeys or you're staying somewhere else will you ever actually have to go and use a different kind of charger. Now, it's not perfect. There's a bunch of different companies running these chargers and they've all got their own app and login, and it's usually a little bit of a faff signing in for the first time. But once you're in, and the second time you do it, it's just a case of tapping your phone, and they're just springing up everywhere. There's more chargers in the UK now than there are petrol stations.
Sorry, that is an incredible fact.
It's mad, isn't it?
That's amazing. And the fact that, you know, because with a petrol station, you've got to just like look on the maps, like come off the motorway, try and find it. But these are dotted around in like residential areas, you know, in cities, in towns, you know, they're everywhere, which is amazing. It's just, they could literally be like the next street away from you.
Yeah, 100%.
Isn't there like 35,000 like chargers now available in the UK, which is, you know, insane, and that is growing like every year.
100%. So I think people get hung up on the idea of the public charger network. Remember, you only need one really good charger most of the time, and that's the one near your house. As long as you've got one of those, you will be okay. As far as charging speeds, well, I mean, the fastest cars on the road in terms of charging now can add 50 miles in about 5 minutes. We're approaching the point where it's about as quick as filling your car up with petrol and having a cup of tea. But again, rapid charging, that's only something you really need to worry about when you're in transit and you need a quick charge. Most of the time, nice slow charge overnight, it's gentle on the battery, that's what you'll be doing most of the time.
Yeah.
So again, it's not perfect. The number of different companies running the chargers is the main grievance of mine at the moment, but it's just improving so fast now.
And also, isn't it really simple just to get a charger installed at home as well? So even if you do buy one and you've got a garage, or even if there's an area on the street outside where you can see one being installed, you know, you can write to the council and get that done. So it's, you know, it's all available.
Yeah, 100%. It takes some getting used to, but when you realise how much money you're saving on petrol, you're willing to put up with having to stroll around the corner and plug it into a lamppost.
God, yeah, because like, isn't it? It costs about £400 for your electric car to charge it with 10,000 miles. But with 10,000 miles of the petrol car, it costs you about £1,400 in petrol.
Yeah,
and that is a massive difference in cost.
Yeah, I've seen that stat, and I think that's based on a fairly small, frugal petrol car. If you're driving something like with a big, dirty V8 engine, like this guy over here drives, it's going to be a lot more than that. It's going to be a lot more than that. And that's another thing that people don't seem to realise about electric cars is, you know, they're characterised, I'm getting ahead of myself, I'm sure this is on the list. People say electric cars are, oh God, I'll wrap it up, I'm rambling. Do you know what, let's just get to another question.
Yeah. Okay.
We don't need to hear about that.
Okay, Matthew Franey says, hello Electroheads, do I really need 200 miles of range, or can I live with a Honda E?
Oh, good question.
That's a great question, Matthew Franey. Thank you for writing in. It really depends on your particular use case. It really does. You just have to ask yourself, what do I need a car for? What do I use a car for? If you're someone who's doing tons and tons of motorway commuting for work, chances are you're going to want big range, just so that you don't have to charge when you get there and then when you get back, and it makes your life easier.
Yeah.
If the vast majority of your driving is done in a city, school run, supermarket, that kind of thing, the chances are something like the Honda E with 140 miles of range is going to be more than enough. I know people who have these cars and they charge them once a week because that's what London driving looks like.
That's awesome.
So again, it's just so important to consider your own use case before panicking about how much range you're going to need, because the chances are it's less than you think.
Yeah, and again, there's always going to be charge points if you need to make a longer journey as well. So even if you did have a Honda E and you had to travel for 400 miles, you just need to plot out a route where you can stop off at a rapid charger, fill it up again halfway, and crack on with your journey.
Yeah. Unrelated, but I actually did a long drive in this car yesterday. I drove to Bedford for a shoot, and I arrived in Bedford with 8 miles of range left.
Yeah, yeah. Slightly anxiety inducing, wasn't it?
It was some good old-fashioned range anxiety there.
But but we made it.
Yeah, and also
It was
we're
fine.
using it for the thing it's not supposed to be used.
Yeah,
for.
exactly, and that's the point. Like, we got down to 8 miles, but of course there was a charger available in the area. Topped up.
Yeah.
Back home.
Piece of cake.
Next one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I had a good one here. So I think it's. Oh no, that's a different one. Hang on.
Elevator music.
Yep. Here we go. Oh, we've actually got somebody from Japan here.
Ooh.
Wow.
Wow. Hello. Konnichiwa. Konbanwa, maybe if it's the evening.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can speak some
Fair
Japanese.
play.
Right. Dragomir Christian says, how long until Tesla will lose the edge to competitors Audi, Porsche, VW?
Such a great question.
Oh, I think you could probably talk about this for hours, couldn't you, Jack?
We're gonna have to keep this brief because I've got a lot of material on this one. So I have a theory, right?
Yeah.
I think 10 to 15 years from now, Tesla will primarily be building batteries and hardware and selling it to other brands to put in their electric cars. The thing about Tesla is they are still miles ahead in terms of the tech game. Their batteries are the best, their charging network is the best. But now, these big legacy car makers that have been building cars for 100 years are finally getting their heads into the whole electric thing. And yes, they've got some catching up to do, but we're talking about big companies here. And when they start the ball rolling, it picks up momentum quickly. Take VW, finally come out with their first electric car, or their first kind of purpose-built electric car in the ID3. It took them long enough, but they've built an entire carbon neutral factory just to build that one car. They built it on its own dedicated EV platform so that they can now build lots of different other electric cars and just drop them on top of this sort of platform that they've made. So Tesla still has a massive head start, undeniably, but they're going to have to work really, really hard to keep those legacy car makers behind them now that they are all in on electric. So it's going to be very interesting to see. I love Tesla. It's popular to hate on Tesla. Their fans are insane. We know that better than anyone from the comments of our videos.
Yes. We've experienced them ourselves.
But you know what? There's nothing wrong with a bit of healthy competition. And whenever a new electric car comes out, everyone's like, oh, is this the one that's going to squash Tesla? Well, actually, they're not trying to beat Tesla. They're trying to get less people driving petrol cars. Like, it's not really versus. We're all in this together.
Oh my god, you couldn't have said it better.
Yeah.
That is the end goal, isn't it? It's not Tesla versus whoever. It's literally, let's just convert everybody to electric vehicles, and that's what Electroheads is all about.
Peace and love.
And yes, also, of course.
Corbett?
Okay, another one we've got from James Moore.
Hi, James.
Will the battery lose charge if I leave the car unused for a couple of weeks?
Incrementally, yes. I mean, your car will have to use a little tiny bit of battery just to keep, all the under the scenes stuff, behind the scenes stuff running, but not very much at all in my experience of that. I've never left an electric car 2 whole weeks without touching it, but I think you would be surprised to see more than 1% or 2 drop off in that time. They're very good at sitting dormant like that.
Interesting.
Cool. Next one, Anne Barrett.
Hello, Anne.
Shouldn't all e-cars have regenerative braking to cut down particulate pollution from braking?
Sure. From my experience, every electric car I've driven has come with regenerative braking, with the exception again of the G-Wiz, which I wouldn't really qualify as a car.
If you don't know what the G-Wiz is, please quickly Google it now. Okay, you'll see for yourselves.
It's it's what electric cars used to be like a very long time ago. Pretty much every electric car that comes out today comes with regenerative braking, and when you press the brake pedal, what you're feeling is the regenerative brakes, and then when you press really hard, you'll feel the actual brakes kick in.
Hey, there it is.
God, it's giving me traumatic flashbacks. Cole and I nearly died in one of those once.
We actually nearly did.
We really did.
We nearly
They
did.
were in a leopard print one. Can we
Yes.
just, make that clear to the audience?
It would have been a stylish death, to be sure.
Yeah, sure.
Regen brakes are pretty much the standard on all new production electric cars, as well they should be, because they're amazing. You get to recuperate energy wasted otherwise through braking, and a car like this, when you drive it with the regen strength on really high around a city, you barely lose any range because you're almost gathering up as much energy as you are using. It's brilliant.
Great, so you drive to get more power, essentially.
100%.
Wow,
And it kind of
it's
becomes
a
a
win-win.
little game of like, how much energy can I get back through regen?
Nice. Is it a bit more of like a sort of a start and stop
Yeah,
competition
well,
going on?
a lot of electric cars like this one have a button that makes it one pedal driving, which means if I take my foot off the throttle, it starts braking, which sounds weird,
okay.
takes a bit of getting used to,
But
it's actually really fun, and that's how you get the most juice out of your battery.
Interesting. All right. Well, there you go.
David Patullo.
Hi, David.
Says, will Electroheads produce any of their own products? Interesting one.
Ooh,
wow.
Wait, what was the merch ours today? Or?
Yeah,
well,
we do have our merch.
We've got a hat or two. I mean, what would you like, David?
Yeah, let us know.
Scooters. I've always wanted to design a car personally.
Some people might have tuned in later than when we introed it, so
Could be.
we should maybe remind them that we're giving them away.
Absolutely,
yes.
yeah. FYI, there is merch being given away to a few of you guys in the comments. So if you're watching this and you haven't asked us a question, ask us a question. We might just send you a hat.
Oh, is that a mask?
And a mask.
And a mask.
Yes.
Or a mask. What you got, Cole?
Well, I'll fire this one at you since it's got a like.
Ooh.
What is electricity?
Nobody's gonna know.
They're gonna know.
Wow, really cutting to the
How would they know?
to the base knowledge there, isn't it?
Jack, you're an expert. What's electricity?
I don't know how qualified I am to answer that question, really.
Yeah.
But thanks, Cole.
Okay.
I appreciate you totally mugging me off on camera.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, it hurts when it touches you. I know that.
Yes.
I stuck a fork in a plug socket when I was about 4 years old. It was no fun at all.
Oh wow.
Does that answer the question?
Yep.
It doesn't really, does it? What is electricity? Energy in explodey form, but clean.
Well, yes. We should probably mention Yes Auto by now.
Yeah. Yes,
Yes,
also,
also.
guys, thank you so much for letting us take over your Facebook and doing this live stream today.
We've got quite an audience
had a
actually,
whole-
so yeah.
We had a whole agenda of things to talk about. Just in case no one asked us any questions, and you guys have asked us a million questions. So thank you so much for joining us today. Should we just carry on with these?
Yeah, and just everybody make sure to check out Yes Auto because not only do they offer amazing electric cars that you can buy, both new and used, but also you can lease electric cars with them as well. So check them out.
It's a great plug, mate.
Thank you.
Strong plug.
That's a really
Powerful
good one,
plug. Seamless plug.
Thanks,
Very
guys.
good.
What have you got, mate?
Well, I mean, Joe Blame does make a good point. It's interesting. Won't hydrogen cars take over at some point in the
Ooh,
future?
good question.
Great question. Well, I actually made a little video about hydrogen cars quite recently, and there's a famous quote about hydrogen cars. They say that they are the technology of the future and they always will be. Basically, it sounds amazing, you know, filling up a tank like we're used to, super fast, really long range. Hydrogen cars can, you know, go 400 or 500 miles on a tank of hydrogen. There are some difficulties. One being it's quite energy intensive. Like building hydrogen stations is quite difficult. There's only like 12 of them in the UK at the moment.
Right. Not much.
I think personally, and I would love to be wrong about this, I'd love to see hydrogen cars grow in popularity alongside battery electric vehicles. I personally think that it's not going to catch on quite in the same way, simply because look how long it's taken the automotive industry to finally start taking battery electric vehicles seriously. And they are now, but my God, it took like 10 years for them to finally start doing this thing. And now that they are, now that the ball is rolling, now that our governments are starting to really get serious about building good charging networks for us, I personally would be surprised if we then saw this other, even more difficult technology come in and sort of join alongside it. Would love to be wrong about that. Potentially for things like hauling lorries and, you know, really big vehicles that transport, there might be a future of hydrogen. But I think for passenger vehicles, batteries will probably be the way to go.
I still think V8s are better, to be honest.
Cole, I thought we had changed you.
Yeah, why did we bring him along?
Who
again?
invited this guy? You know, we just need a GoPro. He's stealing a living here.
What's he even doing?
Yeah, he didn't, I set this camera up myself. He just got in the back of the car and started heckling me. Honestly.
Right, I quite like this one. Not really a question, but fun fact.
Okay.
Tomoya Seki from Japan.
Yep.
In Japan, you can rent a Honda E for an hour of a price of a Big Mac.
No.
What?
How cool is that?
That's amazing.
That's what we
It's
should have
so cool. So they're just parked up on the street.
Yes Auto. That's
Wow.
That's an idea right there.
What?
There you go. Yeah. We might have to come.
That would turn everybody, because you'd just be like, firstly, look how cool that car is.
Yeah.
Firstly, it costs nothing, and everybody would just get in it
That
and
is
just drive
amazing.
around. That's
That's very
genius.
cool.
That's awesome. We're gonna have to pay a visit to Japan once this
Oh,
whole
what a shame.
situation
How
is
cool
done.
would that be? Electroheads in Japan.
That sounds like a valid excuse to go to the other side of the world. Man, that's amazing. Yeah, like, the thing about electric cars is you only need a quick going one to become a convert. Most people put their foot down, they're like, oh, I see, this is amazing.
Yeah.
So if stuff like that was readily available in more places, I think we'd have converted more people by now. That's
You know
really
what?
cool.
Even I would probably rent one.
There you go.
Of course,
There you go.
absolutely.
Awesome.
So there's a little conversion of call.
Great fact, by the way. Thank you.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank
awesome.
you for that.
That was cool.
I'm going to give that a like. Thomas Nilsson, I think he's asked a few questions really, but also a good one. Is the in-car charger in the Honda E powerful enough to charge an e-bike, one wheel, etc.?
Ooh, good question.
I
don't
think
actually
so.
know.
It is because it's 230 volts, which is
Yeah.
That's
the
the
mains.
standard, isn't it?
We are currently using it to power this shoot. We've got a 4-plug extender plugged in down here, and it's powering the GoPro, it's powering my phone, it's powering Cole's laptop. We've made toast in one of these
Yes,
before.
we've used a projector to project films with it. What else have we done? We got an electric guitar and an amp plugged into it and drove around London. What else did we plug in? Yeah, toaster. All kinds of stuff. You can plug anything in.
This is genuinely one of my favourite things about this car, and I have no idea why it's taken this long for someone to think of this. It's an absolute game changer having a for those of you not from the UK, three pin is like our domestic plug socket that we have at home, and we've got one of them in this car, so you can plug whatever you like in.
Right.
It's amazing.
Brilliant.
Also consoles. We played some games.
Yes.
It's great.
I have another really good one here. David Taylor says, actually I think any English or UK EV startups we should be watching, like any new English EV makers.
Ooh.
We should probably mention those guys that convert normal cars into
Yeah,
EVs.
absolutely. There's
Those are interesting.
So-
London Electric, right?
London Electric Cars is one. They're just down the road from where our office is based, and they're focused on converting EVs. They do some amazing work. The guy that runs that place drives around in an electric Morris Minor, which I think is
That's
Super
the
cool.
coolest car in the
Very
entire
cool.
world.
Yeah.
Another company that I'll give a quick shout out to is one called Berkeley, which is a sports car brand from I think the 60s, and they've got this crazy history where they were going to become this amazing sports car brand. They built like 2 prototypes and then they went bankrupt, and this was 60 years ago.
Oh wow.
And then they've come back as an EV brand. So they're currently working on a new small, lightweight, 2-seater electric sports car, and it's like all of my dreams rolled into one. It looks incredible.
It sounds like, but I haven't seen that as much, the sort of 2-seater electric, as much as, you know, like all these other cars with the 5-seater. Like, that sounds like something that could be one of the classics.
100%. We're definitely, the sort of the 2-seater electric sports car is still yet to have its day, but there's a few coming in the next few years that I'm really excited about. But yeah, Berkeley, look into them. Very, very cool.
Interesting.
Couple more comments to run through. Back to David Patullo. He says he needs a cap because Goodwood July is coming, and that's a free promo. So good one. Good.
Okay.
I think he might have one.
All right.
Anne Barrett again. Another good question. For most people, clutch and gear control is part of the skill of driving. Ooh, I like where this is going. Electric cars seem to be just point and shoot. Won't that make them rather tedious to drive, as there's not enough to do? Yes, I agree.
Okay, so Anne, you've touched on a big one here. To the people who love driving, you can include Colin that, and me as well, one of the most worrying things about electric cars becoming the norm is that we lose gear shift and we lose engines and the atmosphere. And just generally speaking, a lot of people would say that electric cars have a little bit less involvement to them. You feel much more like you're operating a computer instead of like you're really involved in a machine. Most people don't care about this stuff, by the way. My mum doesn't give a stuff. She just wants to get to work and back, you know, quietly.
An A to B kind of situation.
Completely.
Yeah.
But for those nerds who, like me, who love driving, they may be sad to see the gearbox die out. They may be sad to see the combustion engine die out because it's part of what gives a car its personality. My answer to that is we will find other ways to make electric cars interesting and exciting and engaging. We just will. You know, companies like Alpine and Lotus, who are renowned for making incredibly tactile sports cars, have both announced that they're going all electric in the future. They will find new ways to make those cars feel special. I'm not 100% sure what it is yet. Maybe they figure out a new kind of electric motor that throbs and vibrates and makes noise. Terrible idea.
Sure.
Maybe they find a way of adding manual gearboxes back in. Probably also a terrible idea. This is why Jack doesn't make sports cars. But I'm very confident. I think the Porsche Taycan, okay, came along and dispelled everything that we thought we knew about what electric cars were capable of. People said that they couldn't feel special, that they couldn't have great steering, that they couldn't be exciting to drive. It's all of those things, and it's the first electric performance car. So all I'll say on that one is wait and see. I promise you, exciting, engaging sports cars will look different in the future. They'll sound different, but they will still be exciting and engaging.
But also, just to add to that as well, there is nothing like the feeling of instant torque. I mean, that is just fun in itself. So, you know, scrap the gearbox, get instant torque. Every time you push off from the traffic lights, you're loving it.
You do get to enjoy it more of the time as well. You know, if you're in a really kind of, you know, nicely set up petrol sports car, you kind of need a bit of space and a bit of road. An electric car, anytime there's a green light, you can just smash your right foot and whoop, there you go. It's good fun.
2 questions merged together. First one is Joseph Dunn. He says, do you do any reviews of electric motorcycles? Very interested. And should we expect electric motorbikes in the future at the same rate as we saw cars catching up? That's from Dragomir Christian.
Sure. We haven't actually reviewed any electric bikes, and that's because I don't have my bike license. Do you have a bike license?
I haven't got a bike license either.
We need to get our motorbike licenses. It's a bit embarrassing, really, because there's some amazing stuff coming out. One of the most talked about electric bikes that people have raved about to me is actually the Harley Davidson e-bike.
It's beautiful.
It's like the last brand you'd expect to go electric, but they've actually been one of the first. And if anything, it seems like the electric motorbike thing is happening even faster, and it's kind of easier to do because they weigh less. It's easier to swap them to electric. So yeah, it's happening. It's happening in a big way, and it's on us for not having covered it more. So that's something we need to do in the future for sure.
And they've got this incredible like hum, don't they, when they sort of drive through? It's amazing because obviously they've had to add the sound onto it, but yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah,
they're really cool.
Yeah, there's some really cool stuff coming out as far as electric motorbikes. Not just the little mopeds, but like big fast stuff too.
Yeah, but we'll take note.
Are garages set up to maintain electric cars?
Okay, interesting one. I'm assuming.
That is an interesting one because, I mean, you know, just general maintenance.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
so
good question.
I'm assuming that means garages like the ones you go to get your MOT done and get
Surely, yeah.
get your
Or
brakes
something
changed and whatnot.
breaks.
Sure.
Yeah.
Battery.
So yes and no is the answer to that. It's important to remember that electric cars are still 90% the same as normal cars. They still have tyres and brakes and, you know, the standard maintenance stuff that needs looking after. You're still going to have to get your brake pads changed. You're still going to get new tyres fitted every now and then. And the same garage that's been looking after your old Fiat Panda for years and years and years will be more than capable of doing that stuff. In terms of working on the battery, well, there isn't really any working on the battery to be done. This is the crazy thing about electric cars. They are so much lower maintenance. You know, an engine is thousands and thousands of moving parts, and one of those parts goes wrong, things can get really expensive. A battery is just a battery, and it lasts a long time, and when it no longer lasts, you recycle it, you repurpose it, you put a new one in. So, to answer your question, yes, garages will still be able to look after and service your car when it comes to, you know, the periodic stuff that we need to do, changing tyres, changing brake pads. As far as looking after your battery, no one really needs to do that. It kind of looks after itself.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Chef.
There you go.
I quite like this one. Another one from Thomas. Do you think Tesla will open up their supercharger network for other EVs to use?
It would be nice, wouldn't it?
You'd think they would. I mean, if you know, with your thoughts that you were saying before, how they're probably going to be selling parts to other companies, you'd think that they'd maybe open things up to make it more inclusive.
Potentially.
You would hope.
Potentially. I don't know. I'm not sure. It's a great question. I mean, how great would that be? Everyone who doesn't have a Tesla, everyone who has an electric car that isn't a Tesla wishes they could use Tesla superchargers because they're everywhere and they're super fast and really easy to use.
But every Tesla owner would hate that.
But every Tesla owner would hate that.
Because you're not in the club.
Even there are other electric cars that I like and want more than a Tesla Model 3, but I would probably get the Tesla Model 3 because of the superchargers.
Yeah.
Because regardless of which one you like the look of more and which one's got nicer cup holders, having access to lots more really good chargers is just a huge selling point.
Yeah.
And it will always be one of the unique selling points of Tesla, at least until someone else comes along and builds their own really good network of chargers. So we'll have to see. Maybe if my theory about Tesla is correct and they end up being a sort of parts manufacturer, they'll have to do something with them. Only time will tell.
I'm doing these in no particular order, guys, by the way, so I'm kind of just picking random. But David Taylor says, if we can have small nuclear power units in submarines, why don't we have them in cars with reactors to power them? I think they had one back.
Who's this question from?
David Taylor.
David. Yeah, sure. Why not? Nuclear cars. Someone's got to try it, right? Again, This is probably slightly outside my area of expertise, and I'm going to choose my words very carefully so that I don't start talking about things I don't know about. I've not heard anything at all about someone attempting nuclear-powered cars. Maybe it's just a question of the size of the equipment required to create fission. That's a word that I know. Watched Chernobyl recently. Not a great advert for nuclear, but I know that it's gone well in other places in the past. Yeah, nuclear cars. You know, how good would it be if we spend all these years talking about battery electric vehicles and hydrogen vehicles, and then one day hydrogen cars, nuclear cars just take over?
And I mean, we've already got some solar cars,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, absolutely. We have to trademark nuke heads just in case.
Ooh, like that. Yeah, like a little branch from Electroheads.
Yeah. Well, watch this space. Nuclear cars. How cool would that be?
That would be cool.
A little bit scary.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Mike Fox says, can you describe your perfect EV?
Ooh.
Do you want to go first?
Oh. So, yeah, I mean, the perfect EV for me would certainly be, you know, a decent amount of range. I mean, if I could have just like 300 miles of range. I mean, oh no, because we're talking ideal, aren't we? Screw it, let's say 500 miles of range. To be honest, I genuinely am in love with the Honda E, so if it was just the Honda E with 500 miles of range, I would actually be pretty smitten, because I just love how you've got these plugs down here, the screens, the camera wing mirrors, which are amazing. Yeah, actually I think the Honda E with more range would actually be bliss for me.
That's a great shout.
Yeah.
What I want, and it's actually going to be quite similar to your answer, is an electric hot hatchback. My favourite kind of car is the hot hatchback. You take the small practical family car and you make it spicy.
Ooh.
They're my favourites, and there aren't any electric ones yet. There will be soon. Cupra are doing one called the L-Born, which is based off the ID3. There are rumours that VW are going to do an ID3R as well, and that is everything I need. Again, I don't have a driveway, so I kind of want big range, like 300 miles of range ideally. Lots of space, well, you get that in most electric cars. Rear wheel drive, sporty handling, and not an SUV, because every electric car is an SUV at the moment.
Yeah.
I know that's what most people like to buy, but again, for us driving nerds, we like to be low to the ground, and I can't wait to see more low-slung, sporty electric cars.
Do you know what? Speaking of electric cars, I've actually got a little quiz for you I was hoping you could do with me.
Okay.
So on the Yes Also website, they actually list the top 10 electric cars that they have. I wondered if you might actually be able to guess the top 5. I'm going to let you do the top 5 of the top 10 of electric cars that they've got on their site.
Their most popular models?
Yes, their most popular models, yeah.
Tesla Model 3.
Okay.
For sure is in there somewhere.
I'm going to say no.
No.
It's actually not. No.
Interesting. Okay.
But try another one.
Tesla. Another Tesla. Model S.
Yes. That's number 2.
Wow, fancy.
That's number
okay.
2.
Number 2.
Yeah, which is...
Renault Zoe.
That's number 6. So
Ooh.
yes. Yeah, I'll give you that.
ID3? Have you got me ID3?
ID3 is actually not on there.
Oh, I'm doing so badly at this game. BMW i3.
Yes, that's number 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we got the i3,
Yeah.
we've got the Model S. What about Nissan Leaf?
Nissan Leaf, that is number 8, believe it or
8,
not.
wow.
I actually thought it might be a bit higher.
Kia e-Niro.
Kia e-Niro, that is not on there. No. Should I tell you what number 1 is?
Yeah.
Jaguar I-Pace.
Fair play.
Yeah.
That's a great
People
car.
are
That is a cool
paying
car.
out for that.
Yeah, nice. So we've got I-Pace first place.
Tesla,
Model
Model
S
S
second.
Hyundai Kona Electric.
Oh yeah,
number
strong.
3.
You see so many of those on the road now. They're really popular.
Yeah, and Audi e-tron is number 4.
Strong. That is a powerful top 5. The Kona,
Yeah.
if we want to talk about big range for your money, you can't do much better than a Hyundai Kona. Right, we've got about 5 minutes left.
We do.
Shall we take a couple of questions?
All right, I'll take a hit on one because it's addressed to me.
Ooh, a
Question
cold
for Cole.
question.
What would a EV need to have to bring you over to the lights? Oh, to bring me over to the light side.
What does it need to do for you? That's a great question.
Okay. Look, I look at cars like this, okay? Your average Joe, I don't see any reason why we should all be driving electric cars now. For the average Joe. For people who use cars for the practical reasons.
Right.
I love cars because I love driving.
Yes.
So for me, it's the element of engagement. Because with the electric car, like, I can't remember who said earlier, you know, Anne Barrett
Remove
said,
the gearbox, lose some of the involvement.
there's no involvement in the process of driving, and you don't really connect to the road, you don't feel it. So for me, it would be a car that allows you to connect. Whether it's through gears, I know it sounds ridiculous, but if there was a manual gearbox with an EV, potentially. But I think there's one thing that you could just never replicate, and that's the sound.
Of course.
And not because you could put it through the speakers, but it's the physical vibration. 100%. But otherwise, yeah, I'm getting there. I'm not gonna lie, I've actually considered getting one once.
I think
so. That says a lot.
I think that Cole is from one of the last groups of people that EVs are yet to really cater for. Again, if you're someone who just uses a car to get around, electric already is a better choice for you. The last type of person that electric cars are still not quite been able to convert are those who really love driving, because those people, they like having the gearbox, they like the involvement. I'm certain that day will come. I'm one of those people that love to drive as well, so I want to see more engaging EVs, and I think they're on the way. We're just going to have to see what happens.
I don't mean to make this as a plug, but it's going to be one. But I genuinely am excited about this whole leasing thing with Yes Auto, because if it's affordable, I would have an electric car and just lease it on a monthly for, I don't know, 200 quid a month or whatever it may cost.
100%.
And use it in the city.
And the great thing about them is as well that you're on these contracts, and when your contract is over, you can then just upgrade to the next newest, more cool car. So you're just it's like having a phone contract. You know, you finish 2 years and you get an awesome new car after 2 years. It's just you keep staying on top of the tech. It's great.
That actually was a seamless plug, guys.
That was not bad. That was not bad.
That was really good.
Do you reckon Apple are going to bring out a car soon? There's always the talk
question.
about it.
Oh, again, I've made a video about this not long ago. I think so.
There's always talks about it, isn't there? It's always just like bubbling away.
Every couple of years in the press, you hear that they've hired a load of like ex-Tesla engineers, and then 2 years later they fire them all, and it's like, what are they doing over there? It wouldn't be surprising to me if Apple made a car in conjunction with a car brand, I think. Right, well, we've got 4 minutes.
4 minutes.
Let's see how many we can do in 4 minutes. We're going to do quick fire answers for some.
Sorry, I haven't even been. Do you do another one of those on the Electroheads channel? Very enjoyable. I'm not sure what he's referring to, Jim.
Another live
stream? Can you do another one of those? Oh, another live stream.
Yeah, if you guys enjoyed this, then let us know in the comments, and we'd be very happy to do this again. We can make it a regular thing. We could do a monthly one. It's just really nice to have a chat with you guys. And
if it means we pull up in Hyde Park and just chill, then I'm very happy.
It's a great working day.
Question from Ben. What's up? No, sorry, there's another one. What are your predictions for Tesla once the competition gets 300 to 400 mile charge batteries into more affordable cars like the Golf E? Are Tesla going to be able to compete at the price of £30,000? Are they going to become a premium brand only?
We sort of touched on this one before, but like Tesla currently has a big head start. They're gonna have to work really, really hard to maintain that head start now that all the OEM, the old guard car makers are throwing all their money at it. I think there'll always be a place for Tesla because people just love the kind of futuristic vibes of their cars. I think they need to get
doing cool stuff.
They need to get crazier. I think all of them should look like the Cybertruck, big spiky faces, and they should just. I think Tesla should be like the most extreme, weird electric cars in the future.
Sure,
that'd be fun.
We've got another time for one more, I guess.
Let's do it.
How long until electric vehicles will be more than 50% of cars on the road in the UK?
Probably not that long. I mean, because already in 2025. You know, car companies aren't going to be able to make petrol and diesel cars anymore. So I really don't think we have that long to wait until that happens. I mean, maybe in the next decade?
2030 for the petrol car ban.
Oh, 2030.
But a lot of brands will have stopped making petrol cars before then, because why wait until the last minute? This decade, we'll see that inside of this decade, I think, that half of all new cars bought will be electric.
We've got 30 seconds left. I just want to say people are hyping up the idea of us doing live streams on our...
We'll make it happen. Love that.
That's good. And we need to congratulate Marcus Hogan for picking up his ID3 at 5 PM today.
Congrats, mate. Lovely.
Let us know how it is.
Let me know what spec you went for as well, because I'm a nerd and I want to know that stuff.
All right, well, I think we should wrap it up there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my goodness.
This was so fun.
It was so fun. Guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Appreciate it.
And again, thank you so much to Yes Auto for letting us hijack their Facebook. It's been great fun. I hope you had fun too. It's been some interesting topics that we've covered today.
We've got a lot of merch to send out.
We've got a lot of merch.
God,
So we might get in touch to, we'll have to pick and choose, I'm afraid, but we will get in touch and send those winners some merchandise. All right, thank you everybody. Make sure to check out Electroheads YouTube as well, and also go on the Yes Auto website, and we'll do a live stream again very soon.
Yeah, see you at the next one. Cheers, guys.